Hi everyone, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Claire and this is going to be the start of another weekly writing vlog. So today is Monday. Last night I got back from a wedding in Columbus, Ohio that me and my friends went to. It was a 10-hour drive there and back. If you've seen my Edgar Allan Poe short story reading update, which is surely up before this, then you can see the really wackadoodle Airbnb that we stayed in for the weekend, but it was so much fun. But now that I'm back in town, I'm unpacked and all settled, and so I am ready for a very productive week. What I wanted to accomplish this afternoon was do at least an hour of writing, but then to also film that writing session for another Write With Me video, so kind of get two things done at the same time. And what I wanted to go over first is actually write out my plans for next week, because I now have a part-time job as a barista at a coffee place that's super ridiculously close by to my house, and the owners are just really cool. It's very local. I'm really excited to be working there. I started last week, but now I officially have like a schedule, and it's part-time, so I can still focus mostly on my writing and my YouTube and any manuscripts that I might be editing. Speaking of, if you yourself are a writer, especially a fantasy writer, and you're in need of a manuscript critique or any sort of editorial service for your manuscript, make sure to check out my services on Fiverr. The link will be in the description below. But since I have the day off today, I need to go through and add in some things, because not only do I have a work schedule to look at, I also have a lot of fun fall festivities that I'm going to be participating this week alone. I think I might be doing like a spooky movie night tonight. We're gonna go apple picking and finding some pumpkins to carve, as well as just going on like a beautiful fall hike now that almost all the trees have officially turned. It is a jam-packed weekend that I definitely want to have in my planner, so I can also schedule out my videos and my writing. So I just got done filming my writing video and working on, obviously, my chapter for the last hour. I definitely want to figure out some sort of deadline or deadline system for me to take up, because I want to get through my Act 2 much faster. I mean, isn't that what I'm always complaining about? Needing to write faster. But especially since I'm drafting, I actually really enjoyed what I was working on. It was something where it was in my outline, because as you guys know, I made a very extensive outline for my Act 2, which is not something I've really done before. I'm not much of a plotter, although I've kind of been converted, because it has saved me a lot of energy and time and has made the whole process easier for me. But there was this section where it didn't have a ton of detail, and the detail it did have, when I was actually writing, some of it changed, but for the better, where I think just through the pantsing process, because there is something about pantsing that can be very magical, where things just click in a way you can't predict beforehand when plotting, and something clicked with me in this last hour where it's like, oh, and it's not the most important section by any means, it's kind of a transitionary scene, but it was like, oh, this is a way to make it way more fun, exciting, and action-packed, and it happened very organically. And it was one of those things where it's like, huh, I don't know how I didn't think of this before, but I'm so glad I thought of it now, because it just inherently made this scene, which again is not like a top scene relatively in importance. It's much more of a transitionary scene, so those ones can always be, I feel like, a little bit not worrisome, but as like an adventure writer, you want to make even your transitionary scenes fun and exciting and engaging, so you keep the reader going through the book so they're never completely bored. This was one where I was like, okay, we're going, and then things clicked, and now it's like, oh, this is legitimately like a short but very fun seen now. And yeah, so I feel very good about that. Hi everyone, so it is Tuesday. I think the last clip you just saw kind of got cut off mid-thought because my camera died. But just to fill you in on some things, I went over to my mom's, uploaded a video, accidentally left my laptop there. So when I came home from work today, I was like, oh, where's my stuff? So I'm actually going to my mom's right after I film this clip and do a little bit of writing before I go swimming tonight with my friends. So apologies I don't have much of a writing update yet because I haven't done any writing yet, but I do have the day off tomorrow. And so I have a lot of things that I need to do, both filming wise and writing wise, and I'm really excited because I'm gonna try to get up as early as I can, sometime between 5 and 6 a.m. and have writing be the first thing I do. If you've been with me for a while, you know that is not an easy thing for me to do. I'm not somebody that wakes up and starts writing. That has never been my thing. I'm not somebody that even really likes to wake up and roll out of bed and go straight to work. Like, I definitely take my time to wake up in the morning and kind of like get myself together, or I like to read with my coffee before I do some video editing and like work my way up to the hardest task of the day, which I generally consider my fiction writing. However, I've been consuming a lot more self-help or just self-development, both videos on YouTube and books, and just talking to my friends about it. And one of the things that is brought up again and again and again is that a lot of highly successful people work on their hardest thing, their most important thing early in the day so that they know it gets done early, and then they go through their lesser tasks. So it's like, okay, even though this goes kind of against my nature, it's maybe something that I should actually look into more. So anyway, that's my plan for tomorrow, but that is what I'm currently up to. So I will probably check in with you guys tomorrow. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. I have been writing for a little bit. I had just completed my Way of Kings video, which I was like, it's gonna be really concise. And I think my raw footage is gonna be close to 40 minutes long. So that's gonna be fun to edit. But I have a online meeting that I need to go to. So I need to go to a coffee shop so I can use their Wi-Fi. And then I'm gonna come back and do some more writing. I have a good momentum going with my current chapter. And actually, according to my Act 2, it was going to be this like one longer chapter, but the previous chapter was already super crazy long. I think even when I edit it, it's still just inherently going to be a long chapter. So this current chapter, what would have been chapter 15, there was a chapter break, and I was like, you know what, let's just break them up and actually have two distinct chapters. So now I'm working on chapter 16, which originally would have been the second half of chapter 15, but chapter 15, like what I talked about, because I added an element in there that made it more interesting, like there's a little bit of a chase scene, it's kind of more funny and amusing, especially because the previous chapter, and this is kind of how I think about chapters in general, where I want there to be a little bit of a push and a pull, an ebb and a flow. So because my last chapter was so long, there are some pretty important plot details. It was very heavy towards the end. It kind of made more sense to me anyway that the next chapter, the chapter 15, is shorter, lighter, kind of funny. I think that makes it a more interesting experience for the reader in general. So like I said, I've done some writing this morning, but I need to go to this meeting, I need to do some video editing, and then I'm gonna come back and do some more writing before I go on a hike with my friends, which should be pretty fun. right, good morning everybody. Happy Sunday. I just realized I think I was wearing the same shirt in the last clip, but it's actually been a few days since I've updated you guys, so the shirt has been washed. I'm just really excited about it because it's new. So kind of a weird change of events. As you saw, it snowed this morning, which I'm actually really excited about. I really like fall and winter, but I was supposed to work at 9 a.m. this morning, so I got up at 6:30 so I could, you know, have some coffee and get ready, but then also get some writing done before heading in. I did about 600 words, which isn't a ton, but I was just really happy to get something done, and it is a pivotal point in this chapter. Then I was gonna film this, walk the dog, and head off to work, only for my boss to text me and tell me that because of this like freak snowstorm, because it was in the 60s yesterday, so it got real cold real fast, and there's no power at the shop, so I'm not coming in, at least not at 9, so I have some time. That means I can get some more writing done this morning. I still have to walk the pup, but that part's very exciting. If you guys have been following me and my channel and my writing journey for a while, then you know that I generally struggle with waking up in the morning, rolling out of bed, and immediately writing. Like, that is just not something that comes very naturally to me. I usually don't really get into writing until later in the day when I feel like I've woken up more or whatever. Especially after doing it, I'm like, wait, maybe that's absolutely ridiculous, because A, now I feel great having that be done and just knowing that that's just, you know, one of the most important things that I have to do every day, and that's already checked off, or mostly checked off of my to-do list. I'm like pretty caffeinated, and I feel like the words are coming to me pretty easily. It's not that strenuous of an activity. Getting these words out of me early in the morning, I think maybe is the way to go. Due to my schedule, sometimes that's just not gonna happen because I have to get at the place so early. Like tomorrow morning, I'm supposed to get there by 6:15. Maybe I can get myself to wake up at 4 a.m. and write a little bit before going, but I'm not counting on that. But on something like today, when I didn't have to go until 9, that was so doable. Assuming that I was gonna go into work, I could go in, you know, with that weight off my shoulders, because it's like, I did some writing today. Especially because I was listening to Brandon Sanderson's latest video, which is like 10 things I wish I knew as a teen writer, which I absolutely love, because these are points that I think anybody who is aspiring to do writing, whether professionally or just more regularly on a creative level, should know or keep in mind. And the thing that stuck out to me the most was when he was talking about nobody is going to serve you the job of a professional, especially fiction novelist, on a platter. No one's going to offer it to you like a company might if you're an engineer or in some other career path. And that can be really difficult because people who generally want to go down that career path tend to be highly creative oriented, which means they can struggle to be disciplined. But he was saying that to be successful, to actually sell your books, to make it in the industry, one of the most important things that you can do, almost more important than the stories themselves and the books you write and your writing style and all of that, is just being disciplined and finding a writing routine that works for you. Now, I know for Brandon Sanderson, his thing is he doesn't wake up until like between noon or 2 p.m. or something like that, and then he writes through the night. Like, he's a night owl writer, and obviously that's not something I'm into. But for the vast majority of like highly successful people, whether in business or writing or whatever, one of the things that is always said is like, get up early and get the most important thing done first thing in the morning. And it's like, there's something to that, and that's something I want to establish more in myself than kind of like, ooh, I'll try to write 1,000 words when it fits for me. I have been pretty good about getting at least an hour's worth of writing in every day, but I think getting it done in the morning is key and not even that difficult. And I think that's just a mindset that I've told myself for so many years, that I don't like to write right away in the morning and blah, 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 blah. That's not necessarily true, or that's not necessarily something that has to be true, especially if I tell myself that it's not. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm gonna do some walking, I'm gonna do some more writing, and I will try to check back in with you guys later. This is pretty over the top. I'm just gonna play games with my friends and family later. Hello everyone, so it is Friday evening and this is not necessarily my final check-in, but this is a very important check-in because I need to do some writing today. I need to do this clip to keep me accountable to write for at least an hour. It is 3:30 and I have not done any writing yet, and this really only solidifies my point that I made a few days ago about wanting to do writing earlier in the day. The last few days I've had to be at work at 6:15, so I've been waking up at 5 a.m. and yeah, I'm not really getting any writing done before going into work. And I've been able to do a little bit afterwards, or like right now I'm gonna take at least an hour to do what I can. I'm gonna be starting a new chapter, chapter 17. I believe this is another short and sweet but very fun, witty chapter, so I'm excited to get into that. But I definitely crave for a schedule that allows me to do some writing in the morning, and lucky for me, that seems to be where my schedule is heading. I'm going to be doing a lot more midday shifts than early shifts, so it will give me plenty of time to do work before going to work, which is the best thing for, you know, my channel and my writing at this moment in time. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I'm going to get to work right now, do some writing, and I'll check in with you guys afterwards. So I ended up working well over an hour. I didn't get super far word count wise. I think I ended between 600 to 700 words, which I guess isn't bad either. I think 1,000 words an hour for me is great. So I was a little bit lower than that, but that's because this is just a really fun scene where my main character and his best friend are at a tavern and they're drinking together. So there's just a lot of dialogue, witty comments, wordplay in general. Like, even though I'm only drafting, so I can always make it funnier and the bants more interesting later on. It was just really fun to think of the wordplay, to think of the rhythm of the words and the sentences. It just took a little bit more time to think those things through. But otherwise, this is where I have to end it because guests are arriving for my game night. It's going to be super fun, very spooky. I don't know what we're playing, probably more like party games and like hardcore board games. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Let me know what creative writing stuff you're working on down below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.